Welcome back, you guys, and apologies for being away for such a long time. I've been ill, it's not the first time I've been ill recently, and I haven't been fully recovering, so it's been taking its toll on me. I had to take some time out to fully recover, but don't worry, your boy's back. And focusing on more positive news, I'm here to talk about our 1-0 win against Newcastle. Now, for that, I'm going to be talking about individual performances from certain players. I'm talking about Tammy Abraham, I'm talking about Ross Barkley, Mason Mount, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, the key guys. And after that, I'm going to speak about Newcastle and why they made this game so difficult, as well as many more things. But you guys, before I get into anything, today's video is brought to you by the One Football app. And as I'm constantly stressing, and I know you guys hear me repeat the same point every single time, but when it comes to a match day, the One Football app is super convenient. I'm telling you, if you want quick access to what Lampard's post-match thoughts are, you'll find a link on the One Football app. If you want to find out quick stats on, how many passes guys like Mason Mount or how many shots Tammy had in the game, you can do that with the One Football app as well. So if you guys want this, you'll find it in the link in the description below. Now, we start with things and we focus with the lineups. Now, with us, it was pretty controversial. We saw that Ross Barkley played over cover in the pivot. And, one thing I was explaining before is that with Newcastle, they are a team that are very happy to play without possession. They're a team comfortable playing with 20 to 25% of the ball. So that really sums up how difficult they are to play against. So for that reason, I thought that Lampard wanted to use Barkley because Barkley has a goal in him compared to cover. And against Newcastle, the quicker you get the goal, the easier your life's going to be. And I also think the second reason why Ross did play over cover is because Lampard wants to see the interchange between him and Mason Mount. And that was something that we did see quite a lot in the first half. At times, Mason Mount dropped deeper to make a midfield three. At times, they swapped positions. And I think for those reasons, it meant that we were able to progress the ball from deep and kickstart attacks. But unfortunately, Ross Barkley wasn't fit enough in today's game. It seems like he picked up a small knock. As the first half went on, his influence really got less and less. No fault of his own. I'm not going to critique him for that. And of course, on that note, you guys, we move on to Newcastle. And as we can see from their formation and their lineup, these guys didn't really... I can't say they didn't come here to win the game. That would be too arrogant. Newcastle understand their limits. They know that against big teams like us, they need to play in a much more competitive manner. And to be competitive, it means that they need to play defensively. And throughout this game, it was really difficult to play between the lines and break them down. And the main reason for that was because Newcastle had a 5-man midfield. And when it comes to defending in the wide areas, think about how we like to play, how we focus our attacks down the flanks. With Hudson-Odoi and Alonso, they were constantly getting outmanned from Newcastle. And that's because with that midfield 5, Newcastle had an extra man to help them defend. And because of that, our passing was very slow at times. We missed an extra man in the middle to help us move the ball very quickly from left to right. And Newcastle really stopped us quite a lot from really doing much in the wide areas. And in this game in particular, it made me miss Emerson even more. You know what? Maybe it's the right time to talk about Marcos Alonso. I want to start reformatting my videos differently, so I'm going to release a tactics only special tomorrow, so you guys stay tuned for that. But anyway, we move on to Marcos Alonso, and as I was saying, he made me miss Emerson a lot. If you're Hudson-Odoi, if you're Mason Mount, it must be frustrating at times because these two players, they're on the ball. They're quick with their passing, their movement. You need to be a step ahead. I think Marcos Alonso showed today that he is not on that same level. He never was. And the irony that this guy gets the winner, it's actually mad that if Marcos Alonso wasn't able to strike the ball as well as he does, is he still going to be here? I think we all know the answer to that. And it's quite crazy how one good attribute in a player can make the world of difference when it comes to the level they play in. I can't lie, this was Alonso's worst game this season, even though he did score. And to be honest, I have said that Alonso has been quite decent this season. I'm not going to take that away from him. But in this game in particular, I think it highlighted some of his deficiencies in his game. We saw his zero lack of acceleration. This guy, I feel sorry for him, There's no way a guy can be this slow and play at this level, but we're seeing it with our own two eyes, you guys. But of course, thank God that this Anomaly is able to get the winner for us. He was really frustrating me quite a lot. And on that note, you guys, that's going to wrap up Marcos Alonso. And let's focus on other positives with different players. And to do that, I want to talk about Tammy Abraham. And I'm going to say it straight, you guys. Tammy, for me, is a young Didier. I think a lot of you guys already feel that yourselves. You already know that. You can see it from, examples where Tammy is just controlling the ball expertly with his chest, backing off into a defender. That's Drogba-esque, to do it so cleanly as well, with that type of control as well, it's incredible. With Tammy, we're seeing that he fights for the team. How many times in a game do you see him coming back into our own half to help out defense? Now, one thing that he has been improving in very slowly is his defending when it comes to set pieces. But I think that with Tammy, as he gets older, he's only going to get better with his aerial ability. I think with the player right now, his aerial game isn't there just yet. And that's partly due to, the level of competition in the Premier League. Defenders are much more physical and much better in the air. So I think for those reasons, you really need to acclimatize and get used to it. But I think that once Tammy is able to finesse a lot of the parts of his game, this guy looks incredible. I really mean it. He's very unlucky not to get a goal today. And as I said, if his heading was better, he's guaranteed a goal today. But I think the promising thing with Tammy is that he's always in the right area at the right time. Now we move on to our centre-backs, starting with Kurt Zouma. And I don't know, you guys, for me, it was another game that proved why, and again, it's my personal opinion, why Kurt Zouma is the #1 defender at this club right now. I think that he doesn't have many mistakes in his game. I think that his passing out from the back is very good. He moves the ball very quickly. I like that his positional sense is good as well. And I like that in today's game, a lot of times he was looking to cover in behind with Tomori. Tomori, now, I think it's time to talk about him. And with Tomori, listen, the guy is an exceptional passer. He really is a very good passer. But, we got to be honest, it's not the first time we've seen Tomori losing possession in his own half. I think that with Tomori, a lot of times, it comes down to experience. You have to see it this way. If you're a defender, I think that experience matters the most in these areas because, the ball can be very erratic at times. Let's say it bounces really funny. Let's say that the ball's like coming from a different area. A lot of times you need that experience of know-how to know how to deal with situations. And I think that, of course, Mori made some mistakes. He gave the ball away sloppily at times. But the reason why I can forgive that is because I can see the ideas and I can see what he's thinking about. And I think that's the impressive thing. He's young. He's 21. He's not supposed to be some elite Ramos right now. Of course not. Let this guy develop. All these guys, remember, are going to develop and only get better. I'm not going to use his performance against him too much today. But, Tomori knows himself that he could have been better when it comes to playing out from the back. Now, the guy that I've really been looking forward to talking about is none other than Callum Hudson-Odoi, and the guy just impresses me every single time. I'm always telling you guys, I remember seeing Callum as a 16-year-old. I've seen him live as well when we played those FA Youth Cup games against Man City, and from that early age, I just knew immediately that this guy is a world-class talent. He is. Look how he plays the game. I'm going to compare him to Rashford. I'm not even remember seeing Rashford. Look at how Rashford still plays currently. His head's still down. He still doesn't read the game entirely. And he always looks to play for himself. He tries too hard. And that's one thing that Hudson-Odoi isn't doing. You'd think that with a player that's coming to replace Eden Hazard, young, all this hype and the spotlights around him, that he's going to really try and put on a show every single time when he plays. He's going to do the most. He's going to do skills when he doesn't have to. But that's not Hudson-Odoi. As I'm stressing, Hudson is a world-class talent. He understands how to play for the team. Look at this kid's overall game. How many times is he switching the play when he has to? How many times does he beat his man when he has to? And if you guys realise, Hudson-Odoi was mostly attempt to beat his man if he was left 1v1. Now, for those situations, Mason Mount really helped him out a lot because Marcos Alonso was doing nothing when it came to combinational play with Callum Hudson-Odoi. But regardless, Hudson-Odoi showed that he is ready to take on the mantle left by Eden Hazard, to be this mature and to play for the team and to be this intelligent as well as all the skills, the touches, the great delivery, the danger. You know, he brings that threat we need, and I thought that was a very accomplished performance. And I think there's a lot more to come from Hudson-Odoi. I think that when he feels fully confident and comfortable with his body and his fitness, we'll see even more from the player. And hey, the guys are done. The guy's a sick player. You know, still though, throughout this game, Newcastle, I understand why they play using this system. It can be frustrating, you know, when you're seeing teams that aren't willing to want to press, that are very happy and comfortable, you know, falling back and keeping their shape and keeping that shape throughout the entire game. Now, yeah, of course, they had some threats on the counter-attack. They've got great pace in guys like St. Maximin and Almiron, but these guys were left isolated quite a lot, and they looked more dangerous than they actually were. You know, with other teams we've played against, they try to attack us, and I think when the game's more open, that's when we tend to do our thing. But, you know, I've always thought that this is going to be a test that we were eventually going to have to face. I think that as the season goes on, I'm expecting to see a lot more teams sitting back and keeping their shape, because they might be thinking this might be the safest way to get a win against us. You have to realise that we do have a lot of inexperienced players in the team right now. That's not taking anything away from their quality, but, you know, in regards to that experience of, you know, let's say, for example, Tammy Abraham. A few times where he had opportunities from headers, from set pieces, he should have scored at least one of them. But as he gets older, that's something that's naturally going to happen. And for me, it's going to be interesting to see what Lampard does against teams like this that are just willing to park the bus and do nothing from an offensive point of view. I like the ideas that Lampard had, and probably to end with this video, I'll focus on the final point, and that's none other than Christian Pulisic. Now, Pulisic did replace Mason Mount, and the reason why Pulisic was useful was because when he was playing as a cam, he had the ability to carry the ball and beat his man. And of course, when you're doing that, that's only going to create more space, especially when Newcastle are more tired after we constantly move them from left to right the entire game. But still, with Christian Pulisic, I feel like I'm going to have to release a video on him for this week. But I'm going to just detail my honest thoughts and opinions on the player and how I feel we need to perceive the player and how I feel like we need to evaluate the player. But with Pulisic, I'm sorry, you know, 2 moments today. His first moment came with that opportunity on goal. He should have scored that. He should have scored that. There's no excuse. If that was Mason Mount or Hudson or anyone, that's going in the net. And the second moment came when he had that easy layoff to Tammy Abraham. And what Pulisic did was that he took that split second too long, which meant that Tammy had to kick the ball when the ball was behind him. And we missed the chance to make it 2-0. And I'm sorry, these are 2 moments where, you know, due to just how advantageous those areas were, Pulisic should have done better. And I think that as fans, you know, wait for my videos to come, I think that we need to have realistic expectations on the player, ignore his price fee, ignore his price tag. I think this is why Pulisic needs to be playing from the bench more, because he needs to build up that confidence as the season goes on. But anyway, you guys, on that note, yeah, it was a hard-fought win, but I thought we deserved it. I liked how we controlled the game. You know, some silly errors at times, but overall, you know, we got that win against Newcastle, a team that have tended to be a bogey team for us over the years. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Iron CV. See you guys in a bit.